Well, hello, my dear friends. Best greetings from Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. My name is Viktor Fursov. I am research entomologist, beekeeper, and teacher, and this is my channel devoted to insects and science about insects entomology. So today we will be talking about insects, very special one, not about polite, cute, and adorable insects, as you may think, like some insects in collection. You do like collect maybe butterflies, maybe you do collect moths. You enjoy tiny, cute insects, which are very beautiful, which are looks very nice, adorable, lovely, and they're not dangerous at all. But today we will be talking about wasps, about bees, not about butterflies, not about moths, but about slightly dangerous creatures, which are wasps. What kind of wasp we can say? Actually, you can see here in front of me, opposite of me, the poster with big insects of big size, but which are originally very small, very tiny, like plankton, and they are parasitic wasps of a family called seed wasps, Calcideidae. So these are calcid wasps, which are parasitoids of different another insects. So the larvae developing inside eggs, larvae, pupae, even sometimes adults of another insects. Sometimes they're even predaceous on another creatures. Sometimes they're parasitizing not only insects but also spiders. They can eat even nematodes. Larvae can eat. But adults were eating just nectar on flowers. So they're phytophagous and they're parasitic because they're developing inside or on the body of other insects or in other invertebrates. So these are parasitoids. Parasitoids were very special. They're killing the so-named host, the creature which they were feeding on. This can be either larva of insect, adult of insect, or maybe another invertebrate like spider or eggs of spiders, for instance. So that's why they're parasitoids. So one group of insects were also called parasitic wasps. They're not so big wasps. Some of them can be little, even big, 20 millimeters, even 30 millimeters with long ovipositor. So especially in the family Ichneumonides, another superfamily Ichneumonidae wasps, which were all belonging to the order Hymenoptera. And we will be talking about not about bees. These are also belonging to Hymenoptera, but they are not parasitic. Some of bees can be parasitic, but majority of them were feeding on nectar and some other substances. As I told about parasitoids, I can show you this atlas with these photographs, not with photographs, with drawings of the same parasitoids, and they're called parasitic wasps. As I called you before, they're developing either on the body or inside the body of egg, larva, pupa, or even adult of the host subject which we are feeding on. So there are quite a lot of them. This atlas about different beneficial insects which are living especially in fruit orchards in Ukraine and in other countries. But what about wasps? To talk about wasps, I use this book of Gary Bolton and Jan Gold, the Hymenoptera. And here I will cite some sentences about wasps because they are belonging to a separate group, not Parasitica, Hymenoptera parasitica, as I said, but parasitoids, but they are belonging to Hymenoptera aculeate, which can be stinging insects. Why aculeate? Aculeate, this is a group of Hymenopterous insects, and they changed function of Hymenopterous, function of ovipositor from egg placing device. Ovipositor was egg placing device to the development of a special venom transmitting weapon as a sting for hunting, defense, and aggression, and for the stinging. So have you been stung with the sting of wasps? If you have been, so you know that's very unpleasant. So all aculeates, they use special sting for defense, aggression, and for the sting. In there are many superfamilies and families of wasps, predaceous wasps, which are included to a group of aculeate. So we called about Parasitica, Hymenoptera, which include Parasitica and phytophagous wasps, parasitoids, and here aculeate wasps. They can sting, but they also lay eggs, for sure. The function of location, the egg has developed on the apical gastral segments. So the eggs image at the base of the sting and does not pass through doesn't pass through the ovipositor or the sting. So that's why in Parasitica, egg is going through the ovipositor, and in aculeate creatures, wasps and bees, egg laid just at the base of a sting. Which superfamilies are included in the group of aculeate? These are different groups of wasps. These are Chrysididae wasps, chrysid wasps. And we have also Vespidae, Scoloidae, Formicoidae, and Pompilidae, and Opoidae bees, Betylidae. And how do they name in common names? They have very special names. For sure, Apidae, these are bees, and Formicidae. Social wasps, these are Vespidae. Mud wasps, Eumenidae. Ruby wasps, or cuckoo wasps, Chrysididae. They're stealing the food from another wasps and bees, so they can be considered as cuckoo wasps. And velvet wasps of a family Mutilidae, and for sure spider wasps of a family Pompilidae. Not all families have common names like Betylidae, Betyloidae superfamily. We can say just Betylid wasps. This book has a wonderful morphological pictures of different groups of wasps, but today we will be talking about them, and I'll show you some groups of wasps in the collection, not only bees, but in the collection also some wasps. And by the way, some wasps are not only dangerous, some of wasps included in some special manuals and books for their defense, for protection. Yes, some wasps are not defending themselves because of a sting. Human beings, just society, different countries, communities, should defend, should protect some wasps, which are rare, some and disappearing species. For instance, in Ukraine, there are three editions of Red Book of Protected Species of Insects. This is the third edition of Червона книга України, Red Book of Ukraine of Protected Species of Insects and Invertebrates, and some vertebrates as well. But I will talk about fish and so on, birds and so on. About wasps, what about wasps? Here, for instance, in the beginning of the list with insects, we have two species. This is a Sapiga yellow colored, and this on the ground. Here, this is a mammoth moth. Mammoth Scolia wasps. Sapiga, belonging to the family Sapigidae, and it's distributed in the south part of Ukraine and in Crimea. Sometimes was found even near Dnieper River. I have not seen the Sapiga myself in the nature, only in the collection here. And Scolia quadrimaculata, protected species included in a red book, which has a wide distribution through Ukraine. Scolia galbula, Scolia kluge, Kalpa kluge. Dicelia zonalis of a family Vespidae. The same social wasps. Dicelia were quite very rare. Sarantes abbreviatus, tauricus, Eumenes tripunctatus, Onychopterolus palasa. For some species even, where have no good photo, no good specimen, so rare species. Only just drawing, like this yellow picture of wasp, which is under protection of the law and included in the list of species in this book with protected species and disappearing species of insects. And here one is very interesting species which I do like very much, which is quite rare, but which has very special name, Lara anathema, from the family Crabronidae, which is attacking this one, Lara anathema. Also quite rare species, parasitic insect which attack Gorilla talpa, mole cricket. So mole cricket is quite a big one species. So you can imagine that this is Lara anathema is attacking mole cricket, Gorilla talpa, and laying eggs on adult of Gorilla talpa and under the ground. So larva is developing under the ground and emerging on the next year. So, but these are parasitic species of wasp which are making the nest for protection of the larvae. Parasitoids, they do not make, like these species, they do not make any nests for their protection. Quite interesting that many wasps can be dangerous because of their possibility to sting, as we say, especially social wasps of a family Vespidae and superfamily Vespidae. For sure, you know, social insects like bees, wonderful bees were here in the collection. They are bees. Here we have just the line of the queens, the line of drones, with big drones, and line of workers of bees. But here we have also two lines of wasps, wasp of Vespidae and Scoliidae, Vespa crabro, European species of wasp, very common one, which is stinging, which is hunting for another insect, and sometimes can be dangerous if can be near the humans. Okay, this is another drawing with wasps here. Big wasp, Scoliidae, Scolia maculata. Here, big wasp, queen, males and workers of a European hornet. And here, the lines of drones. Drones very common for sure in the summertime, in June, in beekeeping farms. So that's why I collected it just for presentation, for exhibition, for during some lectures for students. What's about wasps? Why they are dangerous? Why they can sting? And who can sting? Well, you need to separate. There are some solitary wasps They can sting, but they sting their prey, they sting their host, which they are developing on. And they have different size. Sometimes cicada killer wasp is pretty big one. Cicada of its family Crabronidae. Cicada killer wasp quite a big, the same sizes, which is distributed in the United States and North America. I don't have it here. The killer wasp is killing cicada and bringing cicada to the nest. But social wasps were making nest for breeding the larvae. For that, social wasps, especially of the family Vespidae, like here, are making social nest. The family of Scoliidae, like Scolia maculata, solitary wasps, they never make a nest. They're hiding their prey under the ground, despite they're big. They look very dangerous because they're hairy, and they can sting if you bring it in your hands and will push on the abdomen with your fingers. Scolia maculata, quadrimaculata will sting you for sure, but not always, like with the queen, like the queen of honeybee. Queen of honeybee can sting, but never sting usually, because she used sting only for fighting with another queen during her life cycle. The same Scoliidae wasps, they use the sting for their life cycle for stinging their prey or the larva of rhinoceros beetle. Rhinoceros beetle, you can find a rhinoceros beetle somewhere in a village. Sabati. I was always thinking that rhinoceros are living only in a village, somewhere under the mud, just near some places where you use animals and straw. So in these places, under the ground, there are some larvae of big rhinoceros beetles. But even in Kyiv, the big city with 2 million population, rhinoceros beetles are living in sleeping areas, like in my area here, nearby. Sometimes I can collect in the summertime some rhinoceros beetles, but just by case, near the stubs of trees, near the basement of trees, because rhinoceros are feeding underground on roots of rotating roots of trees or cut trees, and in May, in beginning of June, they're just hatching, emerging, and flying around. So that's why these solitary bees, Scoliidae, they are flying only in the beginning of June, at least the middle of June in our area. Before emergence of rhinoceros beetles. Initially we can find, because they're hatching earlier, initially we are hatching males, and you can see near the stubs of trees just flying near on very low distance near the ground, some wasps very actively, sometimes they're swarming and fighting, but these are not social wasps. For sure, these are Scolia wasps, especially if they're swarming and fighting. That means they are fighting for the female, because the males of Scolia maculata, they do like fighting between them. Oh, we can see some questions like, what can be advice about manual about insects in our area? Very good questions. For that, you can type some questions on YouTube, not on YouTube, where you can see stories for entertainment. You can find many books and download tons of books, dozens of books, even hundreds of books from internet, if you can search it properly with keywords. You can type keywords, and so download PDF in Russian, in Ukrainian, in English, in French, in German language, and internet will show you some websites with stock, with libraries, like Gutenberg Library with English books, and many others libraries in different languages where you can download free of charge books about insects for identification and some atlases for entertainment. Yes, so question in English and yes. So this is the answer. Check internet. What about books? I had another video on my channel. So search books about and on entomology subject on my channel, and you can find long list of books which I can advise and websites where you can download. Because today we have a stream about wasps. So you have understood that we have social wasps like Vespidae and solitary wasps like Scoliidae. And about Velutina in Ukraine. Nobody knows about it, but I can show you. Not Velutina I have in collection. I have in collection Velutina, but initially I show you how the social wasps living by. Social wasp, this is European hornet, and this is a small part of nest of European hornet, which I just extracted from the nest, and for the collection I did this pinned workers and pinned queens of different specimens of Vespa crabro. I have a collection also of Vespa velutina, which I got from France for collection dead specimens. And this is the question, how do they live? Social wasps were making the nest from the beginning of the spring, and start the colonies going to be from the just one individual, one specimen of a queen. Here, the biggest one, I have here several queens. Here males, and here the big one, female queen. Other workers were also female, but were not laying eggs usually. At the presence of a queen, they never lay eggs. In absence, some cases, Hymenoptera wasps can lay eggs, but this is exceptional situation. And also they produce only males. But female lay fertilized eggs, and they are developing in queens, and they're developing in workers, and not fertilized eggs developing into males. Males are not stinging. You can very easily take male in hands, and I showed it already on my channel, without danger, because males has only males genitale and no sting. All Hymenoptera insects, they have males with no sting. The males are not stinging. All the others here, queen, and also workers of Vespa crabro, European hornet, are stinging. And how do they live? I show you, don't worry about it. I show you not living nest at the moment, but I show you the nest in the collection, because I have a box with my wasps, which I extracted from the natural conditions. So you can see here, these are cells. This is a cellulose for foundation, as you can say. So foundation is usually part for honeybees, but this is paper foundation for European hornet. Here with white cocoons of wasps, and all of them were attached together in a big ball like that. And several layers like that have been joined together by separate small sticks. So, and they have been covered with layers of paper, because European hornet and another species of hornets, they produce nest somewhere in a hidden place usually, usually, especially European hornet, do like to hide somewhere under the ground, underground place, under the tree, under the roof of house, and up making special nest with several layers like this. And the top of one, this one was on the top, has a special like roots, like special sticks on the top for attachment to the roof. Everything has been joined together between them was a kind of a wasp space, like a bee space was between them. Were like two sizes of wasps, because they are moving between all these foundations, between all these plates. Here all these cocoons, because larvae developing inside these paper cells, and I extracted them because they will be rotating, but some of them dried, so that's why they dried here. And here you can see white cocoons, silky cocoons inside paper cells. Size pretty big, and this one is also just full of completely developed larvae and pupae. I dried them under the sunshine, and I keep them inside the box for protection against some beetles, some dangerous beetles which can eat it. So that's why I'm very careful about it. You cannot keep it on open situation because some predators, some saprophagous insects, some beetles like Anobiidae beetles will come, or Dermistidae beetles, and will feed on remnants of all insects here inside cells. So all these cells produced from the cellulose from the paper. And who is making paper? Wasps, adults making this paper. They're chewing with their mandibles on the mouth parts. They're chewing cellulose from trees, from the bark of trees, and making these cells. All the adults, workers, drones, and queens, they're feeding on nectar and sometimes pieces on the juice from meat, and also workers were feeding on some juice from exchange with larvae, because when larvae here on the pupa, but when it was empty, cocoon was empty and there was no cocoon, larvae are sitting here, and wasps are coming here inside, bringing the piece of food, like piece of meat, and feeding the larva. Larva exchanging with some extraction, with some liquid, some fluid from the mouth parts, and happy wasps, hornets, they're just consuming, this liquid from the larvae. So they're exchanging, following to a process so-called trophallaxis. Trophallaxis, exchange by liquid, exchange by food, trophallaxis, which is special also for ants. Trophallaxis exchange between individuals of ants in the nest of ants. But here trophallaxis between larvae of hornets or wasps and other wasps and their adults feeding workers. So workers are crowding here around, they're bringing the food from another workers and feeding all larvae inside the cells. All construction is very complicated with different layers like that, and it's gathered all together like a ball, like a big ball with different size. With this size is like a normal saucer ball, but sometimes for big colony, the saucer ball can be quite big, even bigger, which is especially characteristic for Vespa velutina, small Asian hornet, which we'll be talking later. Because in this nest, I'm collected personally about 200 queens in one nest and 450 workers. So all colony was about 600 individuals, 600 specimens for whole pretty big colony of European hornet. But Vespa velutina nest can be even quite bigger, like this size, huge size, which will weigh up to 16 kilograms, 10 kilograms, so 16 kilograms can be for Vespa velutina. And here, these are remnants of paper, but these are remnants of cover and paper from another nest. And I show you this one. Hornets big wasp, but other small wasps like social wasp, like Paravespula, are making smaller nest. Yes, this nest also small, quite small, but it was underground nest with this covering, covered with this paper. So I just open it. So this piece of paper with several layers of paper around. But also here, attach some plates, several plates, 1, 2, 3, 4 plates. Between them some stalks. And all this nest was just under the ground. By the way, is the apiary of my friend Vasil Priatelenko. If you are interested in beekeeping, you can watch my video about beekeeping on my channel. We collected it just near the beehive, just under maybe 30 centimeters under the ground, because I digged the soil and take it off very carefully, because it was autumn time and all wasp already disappeared, because in autumn time social wasp was spreading around in the search of hibernation place. What does it mean? As I said, I will show you this small wasp of another species. This is a Vespa or Vespa crabro, European hornet, and this is German yellow jacket. So Paravespula germanica. Paravespula germanica, small yellow jackets. The small one. And I heard another one. No. And some species are making very small nest with a little bit different structure. They're belonging to another group. So you see here, in a close distance. I can show you like that. Yes. Enjoy the structure of wasp. These are cells, paper cells, and cells with white cocoons. Backside, attachment to the roof. This is attachment to the roof. And this one with dyed pupa inside, so you can understand that we have pupa inside. You can hear the sounds. These are dried, like peanuts, like seeds, like lotus seeds. You see here dried pupins, dried larvae inside this paper cells and inside these silky cocoons. So I started to tell you about life cycle. What about the life cycle of these wasps? As I said, the life of wasps starts in the spring.